G2 just happy to keep hands on in the matchup.
Joshua with a bit of a mouth span there. He's in good spirits.
I think it's safe to say after winning game one, yeah, he feels pretty good.
And especially, I think it feels good when you kind of have this little blunder that he had early game, but to just immediately bounce back, it's always a very good feeling.
You need to have that confidence. Can't let little moments shake you. The same is true for G2, of course. This is the team that you kind of default assume to be a threat, default assume to be the boogeyman of the LEC, but it was just last split. They fell to KC, and while they still have that plot armor, they still have that expectation. The pressure on the players must be immense at this moment.
Yoya's ultimate is almost back up, same when it comes towards Jojo, so the windows of opportunity for G2 to make plays start to slip away, but Dragon going to be taken off the back of this as well. G2 feel like they just don't really know where to put their efforts.
Yeah, this is just off the back of that little lane swap MKOI did. They get full control of mid lane. They're able to pick up this Drake for free as Hansam and Lebrov has the base. They didn't find the pick onto Jojo, so G2 get nothing, while MKOI get the Dragon.
BB at least able to get a bit of a tempo lead, and Hansama now forced out of mid. The Shroud keeping Hansama safe. Hasn't had to burn a sum yet there, despite the 2 back-to-back attempts.
It was ambitious anyway. I mean, you still had the cleanse for Hansama, even if the ultimate from the Varus did connect. But one ultimate down for G2, going to be a bit of a sigh of relief for them.
And crucial that Hansama continues to stay alive here. This was the first pick. This was the priority for G2 to set Hansama up for success. Sending out the flashiest champion in the early stages, but they need him to be able to hold on to the side laners to do their work. On the opposite side for Supa, he's the last. Galio's going to do less magic damage than the Varus this game. I think it's safe to say. He is the man who has to bring all the damage to bear as we get later. And so far, things are going pretty damn well.
I do want to say, though, I think Hansama's held on admirably because, you know, it was a tough early laning phase. He's gotten dove a few times, but he's still only down around 500 gold. His soul count is also sitting quite nicely at 34 so far, closing in on that 40 stacks at around 14, 15 minutes. So overall, a pretty good game for him. It's also a game where, Skewmon.
Finding Skewmon. Skewmon, no tricks to get out of that one, and Supa grabs another kill. Alvaro now finding Hansama in the mid lane, the immediate cleanse, the flash out. Both those sums he held onto for so long, gone in the blink of an eye.
Good read from Yoya on the grab. He actually hides in the Dragon Pit, so then the Trundle thinks he's safe to go for the quick take on the crab and gets caught as a result.
And it's uncharacteristic mistakes from Skewmon here, back to back. He's getting caught out when I feel like he's been a player that's played tempo so well. He's had Jojo trading with Caps.
Ongoing. Caps giving as good as he gets, just retreating with the phase rush.
I mean, for me, Skewmon has been a player that's just been the closest jungle kind of perfection. He just clears incredibly well, doesn't really make any, like his consistency has been his key. But in these 2 games, we've seen him make way more mistakes than I've seen him make in the last few months.
And it's not something you want to invoke. It feels bad to even say aloud, but it was G2 collapsing last finals.
Yeah.
They made it there, no doubt, right? But it was the same. It was KC coming up through the lower bracket, finding that 5-game win over Fnatic. This time, MKOI finding that 5-game win over KC to be here.
And it felt like in that series as well that it was Skewmon and Lebrov that weren't really the players that we're used to them seeing. And in this game as well, it's Skewmon and Lebrov that I'm having the most criticism for.
Potential plays looking onto the bottom side of the map, but don't know if we're going to get it. Alvaro wants to try and force this. You've got Yoya with the ultimate in the area as well.
Semi-global pressure, something that makes this game already much harder for the side of G2, even if they have a Rise ult. Once you fall behind, again, the champion with a lead and that global threat or semi-global threat is just so hard to deal with. In this case, it is Elyoya once again.
And this game is feeling like deja vu from game number 1. It's Elyoya picking up a few kills, MKOI getting an early lead, and then as we approach the mid-game, the game slows down. It becomes about Drake's subjective control.
Well, I just ran to grab it for Elyoya, but it seems like maybe the better talking point is BB as he full commits to this play. Dawning Shadow over the top, desperate to try and find this kill. Broken Blade getting lower, but the Pantheon is here!
It's still about Elyoya!
It's still!
BB just goes for too much here. He really wants to look for this solo kill, but his team is not with him. While MKOI are all there. Maybe G2 can try to pick up the Rift Herald off of this, but MKOI want to fight.
Alvaro, perfect engage, fall with the Galio. The chains he's going to be beautiful. A knock up onto Lebrov. Hansama retreating, but the damage isn't quite there from the center yet. Taunt not going to connect. Nice route going through to stop any further follow-up. But in the meantime, it's Beerwin in the bottom lane, breaking towers, even as MKOI turn back to the Herald.
MKOI do a great job on the engage from Alvaro, but it's Jojo who splits up the fight, even though they don't get Hansama, being able to keep Lebrov away from his team, sets up the kill, sets up the tower bot, sets up for the objective. MKOI starting to run away with this game.
And it is starting to feel like it's deja vu, but from last season's finals here, with G2 just falling apart. MKOI get the Herald, they get the bot tower, they get absolutely everything.
And this is the thing. If Caps wins a game, he takes the whole damn series in finals. But the rate we're going, being down 0-2, needing to reverse sweep would be such a burden on these players, a momentous potential for a turn. But this is the kind of pedigree the Caps had. When he loses, it's a fall from grace. Any other situation he wins, even as Skumon now might be in trouble.
That's some aura points from Supa there. That man stepped in 1v3, knew the cavalry was coming, but sends G2 running. You can see MKOI playing with confidence there, stepping forward once again. And I think this is the heartbreaking thing for G2, is the fact that they just haven't been able to find that same level of confidence in Lebrov and in Skumon that we saw the last time these two teams faced off. It was about that jungle support being able to contest Alvaro and Elyoya, but that just hasn't been the case so far this series.
And MKOI, they have full control of the map. They get the Drake uncontested. There's no cross map for G2. They're just in the driver's seat.
G2 though now stepping up, trying to catch out Alvaro. Caps clipped by a bit of CC, but Skumon is on the way in. Alvaro now falling. Mirwin not going to find the ulti. Quick flash, good reaction from Lebrov to get one back.
So G2 managing to catch MKOI as they do overextend. Thought they could follow up on the fight in the mid lane with Mirwin having that public execution. But the flash from Lebrov prevents him from stepping in. That intervention not there. But still, a little bit of objectives going the way of MKOI.
A little bit over-eager there by Alvaro as he tries to go in kind of 2v4. But that kind of goes to show just the confidence that MKOI have in this game. Even when they're outnumbered, they're willing to take fights because they know they're that much stronger.
Yeah, and while it is a small lead for Mirwin and a small deficit for Jojo Pune, it's Supa and Elyoya who are doing so well, who are so far ahead. Supa, who has to bring the damage. Elyoya, who has the potential to influence the entire map. It's such a comfortable spot for MKOI, even if they give up a single kill here, as Hansama is once again forced away. MKOI dropping the Herald mid lane, descending upon the mid lane tower.
It's just a free tower, and Supa is reaping the benefits of this Ghost, because now as we enter the mid to late game team fights, he can actually position so much more aggressively, because he's not just an immobile ADC. He has so much movement speed from the summoner spell that he can actually do things in team fights. As Alvaro goes for deep vision, he doesn't care. He's not scared of anything.
And this is the most terrifying form of MKOI, when they can just group up, try to force these fights. Of course, while they're taking mid lane, Brokenblade is taking a side lane tower, but now it's Hansama who might be caught out. Flash forward, charm, the cleanse, not enough. There's just too much damn CC, but the flash will keep him safe, even as the tier 2 falls. And for G2, they need time. They need to be able to scale. They've got the champions, but those champions just don't have the items.
And MKOI are getting what they want. Yes, you get the bot lane turret for G2, but mid lane tier 2 now gone makes this top tier 1 for G2 indefensible. And MKOI know that. They're starting to move up. G2 have moved several members to try and defend this, but I don't know if they can.
Alvaro, Q doesn't connect, flash W also going to miss. Skumon, good patience, does force to use a flash of his own. TP behind now from G2. Realm Warp in, an opportunity to turn. Eyes on Supa, he's going to be the big target. Instead they turn for Alvaro. Triple stun, following up with a beautiful ult. Now it's the Galio, it's the entire team. Supa ready to make a montage, but he's a little bit too far away. Now Liano's starting to rain freely. And it's all falling apart for G2.
4 versus 5. MKOI take down G2 from the skies. Jojo descends, and it's G2 that fall.
And MKOI are just getting everything here. As you said, though, that's a 4 versus 5 with G2 starting the fight. But MKOI have the champions to keep this fight going. They have the Varus ulti spreading, the Galio ult descending. Everything lines up for them as they pick up 3 kills, and nobody ends up falling on their side.
Cap's so desperate to try and pick off Alvaro in the back, even walks in to Jojo Pyun's ultimate, hoping he can get something back. But this was the combo that we were talking about. This is a short-range comp from G2. When you look at the amount of melees that are there, and Jojo's getting so much value from the big circle.
I mean, 4-0-4 for Elyoya, a monster in this game. 2K lead for Supa. Things just keep looking better and better for MKOI. And that the G2 that has been undoubtable for so many years, they're starting to see cracks in the armor. And it's only game 2, right, in a series, but again, we immediately remember the story of last split as MKOI set their sights on Otacon easily, uncontested. No one from G2 wants to take the risk. They're simply too far behind.
And it's G2 that denied Elyoya in so many of those finals. It's G2 that denied MKOI members from becoming Royal Roaders in their first split, taking that championship. And now, just over a year later, MKOI coming alive against G2 here. They look fantastic.
And it's so beautiful because it feels like Elyoya at the helm. He's the one leading these early games, getting these huge leads for everybody on the map. With him and Alvaro just gapping their opposition.
It's not over yet, though. This is still only game 2, and they're still a far way away from closing out this game. Dragon going to be up in about 50 seconds, though, is going to be the next protocol for MKOI. I think for G2, it's just try and sit back and scale. Find those moments where you can get those items onto Broken Blade, get some stacks on towards Hans Sama, some items much needed on his end as well. It looks like that's what G2 will do. Forgo Dragon setup, maybe look for a push on the top side. But Jojo is piecing out of there. He wants nothing to do with this.
The problem that G2 has is MKOI has really good wave clear on this Galio, and it's very hard to dive. So it's really difficult to try to get any sort of cross map done, despite the fact that they have this Camille and Rise. And the problem with this comp, as you said, Dracos, a 1-3-1 where you don't win side is nothing.
It's not, yeah, it just doesn't work. At least one of your side laners needs to be able to push. And the good news is, Caps at least has that individual lead, right? He can't walk face first into Jojo Pune at this point, but he does have a lot of wave clear, and he is a threat in the 1v1. He just doesn't have the time to finish those kills, and he doesn't have the comfort, the safety, the Pantheon that could be lurking in the darkness, or in this case, taking the third Drake and moving MKOI to Soul Point.
I do think level 16 on Caps is a huge spike to look out for, as he gets that empowered Q all the way up to 100%, and he's going to do so much more damage with it. But other than that, there's not that many bright spots that I'm like looking at for G2. I mean, the soul count is slowly stacking up. Scaling is still definitely, I think, in their favor, but MKOI's draft is just so easy to execute.
But this is the thing right now. What has worked for G2 previously against MKOI is not working this time around. Last time the two teams faced up, it was, we have the Talia, we have the Ahri, we're going to start making plays towards side lanes in game 1 and game 2. G2 picked very similar compositions to try and make plays around side lanes, but it's MKOI here coming out on top, and a lot of that is thanks to Elyoya controlling the early stages, but also they are playing relatively cautious and safe around their side lanes to not give G2 those windows to attack.
And MKOI are the team that continue to back up their interview booths, back up their talk, right? We heard they weren't ready last time they played. 2 series back-to-back, they weren't prepared. This time around, they said, hey, they split their prep. They're ready for 2 series. I wasn't inclined to believe them, but they're making a damn good argument here, although now Jojo might be caught out, but it's a TP on the way in, and the Galio's still alive, trying to ult to safety. They'll burn through him, but Elyoya's ready with the fall. TP in from Mirwin has finally arrived. Caps might be in trouble. Good damage from G2. It looks like they found 2. G2 continuing, looking to break the tower. They found the angle to come back. Super over the wall, though, is going to do huge damage. It'll at least be LeBron falling, but no, the flash keeping him safe. Elyoya, has he overcommitted? The answer is yes. Alvaro is here. Oh my God! Turn it back! They've got the confidence. Hansama barely escaping. Broken Blade goes in, and he goes right the hell back out. He wants nothing to do with it because once again, someone from MKOI comes down from the sky and takes everything from G2.
It's the Guardian Angel in the form of a metal horse that keeps G2 where they don't want to be. And MKOI shooting them where they stand with Super playing that fight fantastically.
And it was such a great play by G2. They finally managed to get a Rise ult where they can make a pick happen as they catch out Jojo. But look how slow it goes. It takes them 10 seconds to finally take down Jojo. And in that time, Alvaro is moving, Supa is moving, Mirwin is TPing. All of MKOI is assembling here.
And as Elyoya tries to defend here, Super comes up, but I want you to keep your eyes as BB tries to wrap around and go for this flank on towards Super. Alvaro goes for the all-in, fantastic engage, but watch this flash from Super. Immediately as Broken Blade comes over the wall, he reacts, gets away from the Camille, repositions to deal the damage, and Broken Blade is overextended.
Supa's reaction speed and how he's playing team fights in these last 2 games is magnificent. On the Xayah, and now doing it on the Varus. It's just beautiful ADC mechanics.
And the thing is, this feels like a player who broke through that ceiling. Someone who wasn't going to be in the conversation for first All-Pro for a long time, right? But these last two series, the Kaisa game yesterday, games 1 and game 2 today, this is a different player. This is a man who has found his form at the perfect time and consistently is leveraging it to take the edge over G2.
Upset put him B tier in his tier list, alongside all the other top 4 teams were in S tier in ADCs. But Supa has been the one that's performed the best out of all the ADCs so far.
And it's a man who always believed he could. He was a man who always said, look, I am learning from the best. I am showing that I will be the best. And now in this series, he has been besting G2 every step of the way. And MKOI, this is fantastic. A 5k gold lead, a minute and 20 seconds until a mountain soul for this squad that already feels near damn unkillable.
And for a team that everyone was ready to count out, other than the MKOI fans themselves, to be in the final. No longer a discussion of, are they the odd man out in the top 4? Is it a top 3? Everyone who said that, probably ourselves included, starting to feel like a bit of a jackass right now, aren't we? Because look at the form that they're in. But again, it's not over till it's over. This is a G2 team that has endured so much, that has won so many titles, so many champions. It feels almost unquestionable when they show up in a final. But Casey dared to ask the question in winter, and it seems MKOI are asking it too, as we see a bit of a strange...
I don't know where that realm lore was going. Maybe it was, I think it was to check the Nash, to get vision of the Nash.
Got it, yeah, there you go.
That somehow barely escaped it. It would have been crazy if he went into it.
Yeah, that would not be a glorious end to game 2, I don't think.
I think Alvaro would have been very happy.
You know? Yeah.
The send in the Senna. And now,
big oopsie, I think it's safe to say.
20 seconds to this Mountain Soul here for MKOI. And I don't see how G2 can contest. They have no towers in mid, so they can't really walk up. And now no Rise ult as well. They might just have to give it.
It's a tough spot. You mentioned a draft, right? The over-reliance maybe on AD from the side of MKOI, but Q1 just isn't tanky enough. They just don't have that person that can face check, that can walk into the waiting arms of MKOI and eat around with cooldowns. There's too much CC, there's too much damage with Supa. So far ahead of the clock, 3k individual lead. Mountain Soul, uncontested.
And you have to wonder, if you're a G2 player right now, are you starting to get some flashbacks from the last final? As everything just seems to be falling apart around them. 1 and 9 on Skumon and Lebrov. It's not what you want to see from them.
Definitely not. And we know the heights they can reach, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it against MKOI. We've seen it a week ago. We know how good they can be.
But I think it has been this gradual increase over time for MKOI. The learnings are there, right? They have. When you look back at this team last year, it was overextending on plays. I mean, hell, even overextending for Targamas' Elise was one of the big talking points we had at one stage for this squad. But they have learned from their mistakes and they've slowly been growing. But to take down all of the other top teams, to put yourselves into this position is absolutely incredible. But they have to try and close it out now. It looks like that next push is going to be towards the Baron TP from Jojo towards that top side. Caps considered moving towards the bottom side, but immediately has to recalculate as he sees MKOI in that top half of the river.
And it's so hard for G2 to finding a winning play. At this point, they're happy going even, denying a next major objective. It's a tough one for sure. But MKOI, consistency has been king this playoffs, no doubt. So many teams who we thought were above the failings of not showing up on the day, every single one has fallen. Right now it's MKOI who are playing better, but it's also MKOI who've been cocky in the past, over-eager, over-forcing. Certainly over-forced a bit this game, but their gold lead made the difference. Now, see if G2 can find that angle, catch a single member out, but it just doesn't seem likely. MKOI groups as 5, Skumon poking his head in. Baron in the sights of Yo-Yo, but a split call. They know that they win the fight. Moving in, 2 members taunted. Caps, nice backstep coming in with the extra bit of movement speed. The Rise still untouched, but it's Lebrov who's in trouble. Lebrov debating if he needs to flash out. Instant fall-off going through. Down goes one. Skumon, ulti already there. A lot less tanky. The root, Hansama uncontested. Good range, but he just doesn't do enough damage, especially in the face of Mountain Soul. An excellent pillar, but he can't finish the kill.
G2 just don't have the damage to go through this Mountain Soul, despite the fact that they played slow, they played nicely. It's Lebrov who dies in a few seconds.
Starfall, Hansama caught out, cleanse flash over the wall, but now it's Caps left exposed. Good pillar from Skumon to stop the fight. Mirwin still might want a bit more, however, and MKOI get another wave in. Can just look to start the objective or reset. G2 don't really have any information.
But look at Broken Blade. If you end up resetting at different times here for MKOI, this could be the engage that G2 are looking for. Realm Warp still available from Caps. Good cancel on the reset from MKOI. Stays a group, deny the picks.
Super backing away, doesn't need to reset. Doesn't have any slots for components. Already ticking over to the Zanyas. It's going to make it that much harder for G2 to even find a pick, to find that backline access.
And you have to feel that this match is where the game will either be winnable for G2 or the game will be decided.
But it's, as you were saying, Dracos, like Seeker's arm guard on towards Jojo, Seeker's arm guard on towards Supa. Who does Broken Blade go for? Who does Skewmon try and focus? It feels like all of those windows for G2 to find the picks that they needed have started to evaporate, and you've got an 8-kill on hit Paris who's just raining down on you this whole time because the backline threat just is no longer a threat.
And the tier 3 boots and the Ghost. This
Yeah,
man is going to dance around. Like, normally Trundle really good into mobile champions. This is just not going to be the case against Supa. He's too damn strong. Objective started. Broken Blade moving in with the sweeper. A cautious approach from G2. They have no vision. They have no knowledge. Just a hope and a dream that they might wander in and be able to take this one away. It would take MKOI making a mistake, but MKOI diligent in protecting this objective. MKOI taking the Baron.
But it's just, look how well MKOI spread out for that. Jojo immediately moving towards that top side to try and protect any sort of engage from Broken Blade. Mirren is just dancing around this block of a wall in the mid lane to make sure he can go for the public execution on towards Hans Sama, who has no flash. MKOI are just threatening from all sides, and G2 are terrified.
And this is a level of discipline and patience I've never seen from MKOI. I felt they were a team that always went for a little bit too much. They could never fully calm down and play cool and collected. But today against G2, they're doing exactly that. In both of their games, they're able to just chill and build their lead, control space, and choke G2 out.
It's that those small bit of mistakes, the over-eagerness on side that G2 punished so well the last time these two teams played. This time around, you mentioned it, yeah, the discipline from MKOI has been phenomenal. And to be clear, G2, no matter how great of a player you are, playing from this position feels impossible. Yes, there's things that could have been done in the early game, but at this stage in the game, it really is going to take a miracle for them to find a way back in.
It's really all about breaking inhibs with this Nash. If you don't get any inhibs here, there's still a chance you can play for an Elder flip. But if you start to lose those inhibitors, it's so difficult to play the game.
Chunking the tower. Does flash, does Ghost Hansama. Cleanse coming up soon, but the flash still a mile away.
I mean, Hansama does have 112 souls. He has incredibly long range here. So if they're able to hold on, there is still some life left in this game.
But MKOI playing on one lane. Both top laners on the top side of the map, but BB still wins in the side lane, pushing in Jojopun. He does have the TP, as does BB.
Alvaro has flash, and he can just click forward, and all of G2 has to back off.
Bot lane inhibitor now set to fall. No TP ward, no flanking opportunity for Broken Blade right now. No way to press a man advantage here in the bottom side of the map. Skewmon already used the pillar, hesitating, not sure if he can still walk forward.
They were not able to actually break the inhib here, and now it's 15 seconds to Elder, and they are choosing to base. G2 might be able to get control of the Elder here.
Full BT bought by Supa though on that reset, and a lot more coming in.
That's a scary virus.
Yeah, scary as well. So, yeah, it's still a lot of work for G2.
I completed on Hansama as well, though. I think, while I still favor MKOI in this fight, this is...
You're not going to get a better opportunity.
Yeah, this is the best chance G2 has.
Reference bang also for Mirwin going to be useful here as they try and go in for those shields from Hansama.
Oh yeah, the rise. It's going to make it that much harder to be. You survive the damage. MKOI again taking their time. Midway pushing in their favor. No inhibitor down does make this more difficult. Crucial that G2 is able to hold on to it as they start to walk in. G2 not the best objective damage. Certainly Caps can shred through it, but it will take them a bit of time.
But the waves are in such a good spot for G2. That's why Jojo going to start to move over. He knows that he can come in with the ultimate late and still be fine. So MKOI just going to try and keep G2 in this position and let Jojo do work.
Broken Blade pushing the sideway left. Trying to demand a response from MKOI. Mirwin on vision has been spotted.
Caps basing, choosing to try to match Jojo here. Maybe this is a sign MKOI can look to flash in.
Elder, the great equalizer. Often difference maker. Alvaro going in, has caught out Hansama. Cleanses there for the flash. Is not. Elder immediately pounces. A single summoner spell making the difference. Supa is completely uncontested. Ghosting, dancing, styling. Caps realm warping out to safety, but no chance of contesting the objective as Broken Blade runs for his life. Tries to get the TP. Shattering strike. Alvaro knows right where he is. The arrow goes a bit wide. Broken Blade tries to style, but is pulled right back into the waiting arms of Supa.
And it's Hansama not having flash, just barely being down, that allows MKOI to get a fantastic engage as they get 3 and they get the Elder, and you have to feel it's going to be the game.
How do you come back from this as G2? Skewmon is running for the hills. It is not kind though.
Dead Man's Plate feeling a bit more apt than normal as he runs to safety.
But look at the mid lane. MKOI charging down it. They know that this base will crumble in front of them, and it's every lane now starting to be pushed in. The Brawl holding here as Caps tries to help him out, but it's already taken, and bot lane inhibitor will be next.
Super sidesteps. Never gonna fall. TP there for Mirwin.
G2 are able to kind of hold here though and defend.
MKOI a bit split. They don't really have a wave on top side to play for either.
Mirwin's in the base, going to TP to the bot wave.
That's
MKOI
going to be
trying
the
to make
extra
the most
pressure
of
point.
it.
Good call out. One inhibitor falls. Qmon trying to hold top. G2, a single mistake here ends the game in favor of MKOI. Where will they try and force the fight?
Crucially, Hansama does have flash now and Alvaro doesn't. So he can actually look to pressure a little bit more and play a bit further up. But I don't think it's enough.
Another wave a bit far away from the top side of the map. Jojopyun trying to cut it. Pull the wave to make sure his will collapse. MKOI grouping a lot.
Oh, the W lands. They can't quite follow it.
The hesitance. Elyoya going to start the fight though as Caps now needs to back up. Zooming out safety. Nice flash away from the bars. All that vision could be everything. Shut down into Elyoya. Caps untouched. Keep your eyes on that rise. Him and Hansama.
No way.
Back to back. Holding the line. 5 strong from G2. Staying alive. But it's crucial they don't get over eager. The backstep. Denying the ulti. Denying the access for Mirwin as G2 barrel down the mid lane. They smell blood in the water. But a backstep. They can't afford to face tank Supa. They can't afford to walk in first. Mirwin still stepping forward. Ulti from the Galio. Knock him on the Broken Blade. Mirwin trying to make the difference, but it's Supa. Still standing Supa who cannot auto-attack. G2 who hold the line. Who hold on to hope in game 2.
G2 hold on despite the odds. They hold on against Elder, against Soul, against the full build Varus, and they're going for the Nash.
I cannot believe G2 survived. A heroic shield from Hansama keeps the Brawl up, keeps the team available to follow on towards MKOI, and bit by bit MKOI are picked off. The Elder is gone, and it's Baron to G2.
And I said this Senna with her souls can do work, but I did not think it would actually happen. Although their base is in shambles, it's still an uphill battle for G2.
Keep that tower.
Oh no. We do have the respawning towers, that's their one saving grace, but the biggest thing that I think will hold them back is Hansama has no flash for the second Elder fight, and Alvaro will have it up.
And G2 have no inhibitors. Double super minions going towards the base means that this Baron is kind of just a help to hold on. They're not going to be able to push it onto the map. And MKOI, if they can get access to that Nexus, G2 need another miracle.
The cloud hanging over G2 finally has a silver lining because gold is also being funneled into them in the form of those double supers. Full builds will be ready for the next fight if they can get there. But again, a single misstep. A Pantheon ult with a Galio to follow means a quick backdoor and a game 3 match point. But if G2 strike back here,
the ults from Pantheon, they're going.
Grand Skyfall immediately interrupted. Good patience, trying to retreat as quick as they can right as Jojopyun goes in. Cooldown's now in favor. But now the full engage comes. The follow-through is there. Hansama untouched for now. Mirwin into the backline trying to delete, and he looks like he'll be able to do so. The set is still living for an extra moment, though. Hansama still alive. G2 turned beautifully as Caps gives his life to live, to hold on to the backline a little bit longer. Hansama still untouched. The Senna doing so much work. Alvaro doesn't find the key target, but it's the front line. And Hansama together, but Elyoya re-engages, goes right back in. MKOI gave them an inch, but they will not give them a game.
And it's Elyoya leading the engage, finding Hansama that secures MKOI game 2 after a hard-fought game here.
MKOI sit at the precipice. 2-0 against G2. G2 need to find something, but we're going to kick it over to Lorwitz Gain to see what he has to say about this insane series.
I don't know if they still have a voice here, given the atmosphere in the MKOI booth. Look at this man's face. Skane, how are you doing?
I don't know what to say. Like last year we were in this position, but 1-0 against G2. Now it's 2-0. We are one Nexus away.
Uno mas, as you guys said. What do you guys need to be careful about to close it out next game?
I mean, we are playing against G2. They have like really insane players. They can for sure actually bounce back this. We have to be really calm, keep playing like that, and let's go for this third Nexus, right? I don't know.
Guys, rest well for the next 10 minutes while you can. Enjoy the show, enjoy the next game, and we'll see you right after this.
needs a map.
Wait, I'll take care of this.
Oh, be careful. That thing belongs in a museum.
What is this?
Wow, that escalated quickly. What do we do now?
Let's have a break.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
How do we get out?
Like this. Say it.
What about me?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Well, I guess that's a wrap for today.
Seriously, medic? I thought we were going out for a ride.
Okay, but I'm driving.
Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Waltzing through the storm, feel the vibe align. Radiant rebels in the silent fray. In the pulse of dawn, we embrace the day. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser focused. Dancing through the storm, we become the light. Against the lies, we'll celebrate in this never-ending fray. As alive in the pulse of dawn, we find our beat when the chances take form through the noise. Hey, look down at the tide, it's our warning sign. It's time to rock the wave or get swept aside. Crash through barriers, our destinies untied. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser focused. We become the light. We become the light. Against the lies, we'll celebrate in this never-ending fray. As alive in the pulse of dawn, we find our beat when the chances take form through the noise. Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Radiant rebels in the silent fray. In the pulse of dawn, we embrace the day. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser focused. Dancing through the storm.
Has he taken the bait? Flash in, Taunt trying to... He's just sprinting out!
Bro.
Round two. Going in. Taunt is there. Flash perfectly layered CC, and down goes Caps.
Wow, what the f***? I think we win this. We're fighting, guys. We're fighting. Don't flash.
Oh, yeah. Has he overcommitted? The answer is yes. Alvaro is here. Oh, my God! Turn it back!
good.
Yeah, I think who's just that good is Movistar Koi. Unbelievable, unbelievable. They're on match point already. This guy, is he gonna be right 2 days in a row?
Am I a genius? Maybe. We do not know yet, but I want to highlight how good MKOI are playing. Like, they are just running over G2.
That comp, the drafting has been impeccable on their side. I don't know what to say about their opponents sometimes.
No, I think G2, honestly, I think they're choking as well pretty heavily. I think MKOI is playing
Whoa,
fantastic.
he said it!
I did say it, but I also agree with you. The prep from MKOI still continues to be great. I would love to go into some of the early game plays we already have from the get-go, because it's just MKOI rolling them over everywhere. We see it in the mid lane where Caps, quite frankly, he has flash. He gets CC chained, he dies. Down in the bot side, it's a 2 versus 2 where they're just gonna die as well. And later on as well, the rotations from G2, they're just not good enough. They're getting out-rotated by MKOI, which put Skumon in this position where he's left soloing the Drake. And while he gets it, you should never sacrifice your life in a manner like this for the first dragon. These early games that we were seeing from G2, they're incoherent, and it seems like they just don't have a game plan with what they're drafting.
It's, whoa, and you know what makes it worse? It's just that we saw it in winter, right? It's eerily similar, right? It is going up against this team with a huge fan base that's going, is up against it, but is getting better every single game they play. And yeah, there was an analogy that I was thinking about in terms of the Camille Rise, right? And maybe it doesn't track, but you know, sometimes you have this outfit and you love wearing it and it's from 2018, 2019, and you think you look great in it and everything is great and your memories are great, but then it's 2025 and you try on that outfit again and you've changed, maybe your body's changed, and it just doesn't work. Is it clinging to the past?
Maybe I've changed support jungle as well, because I'm not sure what is happening right now. I feel like G2 is just not really matching the pace that MKOI has set. I feel like Elyoya and especially Alvaro, they are just playing at another dimension, and I don't really see any proactive play that G2 makes where Caps and Skumon is on the same screen. They're constantly just being alone, wandering in the river, doing random scuttle crabs, and it's just like...
And you need to give Caps those resources, because if you're not, you're just falling behind to what MKOI is doing to you. I completely agree with what you're saying. And I think MKOI, they've just been the better mid-jungle support synergy that we've highlighted the entire year.
Unbelievable. Like, look at them taking to the stage now, right? I think if you go down the line, every single story, we just said it yesterday, people say, why do you keep bringing up that EMEA final? Because it matters to them. Because that's the road that Supa's on, and that's the road he's been on. And he comes into this final with Elyoya. Do we even have to say it? It's crazy what this guy's doing.
I mean, absolutely. Elyoya's early game have been absolutely fantastic, but also just super. Not just this series, the KC series too. His entire playoffs, I mean, what a glow up from the guy.
I mean, I just can't even imagine how much it would mean for this team to finally win their first title. They are looking at match point coming into game 3 against G2, and just observe these beautiful stats from
7-7-7. We're rolling jackpot on Supa,
But he doesn't
baby.
need luck. There's pure skill in that man's veins, running that Varus and the side game 1, just the micro, everything is just flawless. Especially, I just want to say it, the map openings. He's just so clever.
He's visualizing it. Again, he said yesterday, no, I don't visualize the fights anymore. I visualize myself lifting that trophy. Now, for our final point, I'm going to let you take the side of G2, GB, and Finn the side of MKOI, starting with how did G2 start to bring this back?
Yeah, you need other members on Cap's screen. He can't be alone. I haven't seen a gank where Elyoya was matched by Skumon yet. I've seen Skumon die isolated with no members around him. You need to be playing with Caps. If you're not, you're going to fall apart.
And I mean, to me, it's just like, okay, MKOI, I've seen you get excited in the past. I know how you can get a little bit impatient when things are going your way. So I just want to see them take a deep breath,
all right,
slow down, and finish out this 3-0. So I was right, and GB
Everybody
and
was wrong.
was wrong.
We were already wrong.
Yes, Laura is now standing by with some G2 fans. Hopefully she can make them a bit happier.
I am indeed. Welcome back to the fan area. On G2 side, it's not going so well for the team, but the fans are still cheering for them as loud as they can. And I found some amazing signs once again, so let's go through them for a bit. What is your name? Johanna. Johanna, nice to meet you. Well, I love your sign. I love the sign you made. I love this one as well. Honorable mention for the one at the back here, if we can show it. Thank you. Lovely. I think you have my favorite sign, so I want to give you a gift. Oh, thank you. A gift. A jersey, of course, signed from the whole team. Okay, so as I said, it's not looking too good for G2 so far. Do you have any words of encouragement for the team?
Well, I think I believe in them, so they do everything for the plot. 3-2 G2.
For the plot, for content. Do you guys believe in G2 here? Let's go. Let's see if they can turn this series around. Casters, over to you.
Thank you so much, Laura. Of course, incredible signs across the board. We'll see if Hans picks Jhin. The champion pool is getting smaller.
Yeah.
Very, very rapidly.
And maybe some utility, some CC from bot lane could be what they need. I mean, that was one of the things MKOI had in last game draft, right? They had everybody that could make things happen. While G2, it feels like they're over-reliance on support jungle when they're not stepping up to the pie. I mean, I'd like to see Hans Sama with more agency for sure.
But I think that's the surprising part, right? I think the biggest standout to me last time these two teams faced off was that jungle support for G2 working so well together. It felt like Scuman and Labrov were always on the same screen. We're always trying to find plays for caps. We're always finding that success in side lanes, but this time around, it just isn't there. And now G2 pick the blue side once more. Can they finally crack the code?
And rapid fire bans from G2, perhaps a bit of confidence here. Much needed as we head into game 3 again. Rinse and repeat on the blue side, as you highlighted. Lucian now taken away. What's the first pick? What's the angle?
Left open.
Wow.
This is kind of the big one, I think.
And this is reliable, right? This isn't the Trundle. This is the point-and-click CC. We know what this champion can do.
But it also opens up things like a Kai'Sa for Hans Sama, a little bit more playmaking for him. I feel like he hasn't really had a chance to really strut his stuff as G2 has been struggling to kind of defend him. Nearly able to get into a position where he could carry the last game, but MKOI just that bit too strong. We'll have to see if that is going to be the answer. Is I don't mind the Poppy immediately pick up here, because even coming with that Vi, good disengage, but also good disengage from the follow-up that Vi will be bringing as well.
And also a great early game pick into the Vi, especially if it's up in the jungle. You can try to invade the Vi, you can kind of outfight her in the early game up until Vi gets that level 6. So really suits LEC's strengths in this series, as I feel like he's been just out-skirmishing and out-impacting Skumon by miles.
And as we get deeper into the series, the depth of the champion pool and preparation is going to matter more and more. First 2 drafts for G2 did not pan out. We'll see if priority on jungle this time pays off. It was Senna in the previous game, and it's confidence coming in from MKOI.
This is technically a double flex here.
Yeah.
But normally if we saw this locked in, we'd think, okay, this Poppy is top for support, and this Nidalee is jungle. But since it's MKOI, I'm thinking this Nidalee is top lane.
I think so as well.
And I think the thing is comparatively, Mirwan hasn't had the most flashy series thus far. Stable Gwen performance, surviving a lot of dives, despite a couple deaths, still able to impact. One good early play from Mbessa, good role player, but the confidence he must feel to potentially play the Nidalee here blind, knowing he might be the one that has to flex it. But for G2, they're set up to have a composition that is just very straightforward and conventionally powerful, which I think is a big boon when you're the team that is down in a series.
My question was, though, what they wanted to go in that third pick. Did they just want to end up taking something like a Sylas for a cap, say, hey, we want to go for something hyper-aggressive and go for these skirmishes in the early stages, even having the opportunity to steal away that keeper's verdict from the Poppy, but instead going to try and lock in comfort for Labrov in that bottom side, but full disengage here for MKOI thus far.
I mean, I like a lot the Kai'Sa Alistar. The Kai'Sa Vi, we saw Fnatic have fantastic success with this combination. I think Hans Sama, we wanted him to have more agency. I think on the Kai'Sa he can definitely have that. But you're playing up against full disengage, as you said, Rob. It's like Braum and Poppy. Can you ask for better picks against Vi Alistar? I don't know if you can.
Be a tough task. We've also seen how quickly compositions like this can fall apart, even in this series. The Vi gets going early, the Kai'Sa gets going early. Disengage might not get the chance to work to full effect.
I'm curious, though, how the engage from MKOI is going to work, because there is an opportunity if you wanted to, which we haven't seen a huge amount in Europe, but Ashe is creeping up over in the LPL, and I think having something like the Ashe in this sort of composition where you already have a lot of other damage coming through from the Nidalee and most likely for Jojo in the mid, I think you can forsake a little bit of damage in that AD carry role to enable engage, and Ashe Braum is just such a strong bot lane, particularly for a short-range AD carry like the Kai'Sa.
And you see Tristana banned away because they don't want to play against a potential double AD carry composition. They don't want to deal with a Tristana that will eventually, alongside the Braum, just make it so impossible for those divers to do an effective job.
Yeah, and Supa's been one of the few players in EU that has been willing to pull out this Tristana consistently mainly on ADC. It would have been a great pick this game. You can buffer the Vi combo, and it's a great lane into the Kai'Sa as well. I agree with you a lot on the Ashe pick. I think that would be fantastic. The only thing I have, like, yes, you have really good disengage, but you always ideally want to pick some ability yourself when you're up against this Vi Alistar. So maybe he decides to go for the Zeri instead.
So we'll be taking the AD carry, and I think then you're just waiting to see exactly what Jojo wants to take in this mid lane. My eyes are potentially looking at a Sylas, because I do think you've got you can steal the engage from the Vi, you've got that unbreakable will you can take from the Alistar. Short range on the Kai'Sa means more than likely you will get some access to this AD carry as well, but I think it will rely a lot on what G2 end up picking in this mid lane.
It's a great Sylas game for sure. It's going to be the Sion Annie here. I mean, G2, they wanted proactivity and they got it. They have 5 champions here that can all start a fight.
The Annie does make it tough for the Sylas though, because Annie can toss down Tibbers. You end up interrupting the Sylas from trying to go for some of the chains and follow up on some of the engage. But also, he just doesn't get the stun from the Tibbers, which is such a valuable portion of that. So I don't think it'll be that, but I'll have to see exactly what Jojo is thinking. Maybe he's still going to go for it. Okay.
I mean, it's a tough lane, but I mean, you do have Alistar ultimate, you have Vi ultimate, even Sion ultimate can be good. You have a lot of good options to choose from here, and it also just helps kind of provide, it doesn't provide engage, but it provides something that can follow the team very nicely.
So we're going to have to try and figure out a way to look at the pots that Jojo buys, the control ones that he buys, and the amount of that'll be very important to MKOI's success.
We'll see if it's fasting Silas or if he wants to be strong this year.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. 2 items is full build for Silas. The chains weigh him down. He's only got enough for 2 things. He can't afford anymore. Someone will keep track of, most certainly. Both fan bases warring, ready to go. MKOI hungry for a 3-0. G2 fans, you're going to need to give it everything you have to your boys on stage. They need to hear you now. One last shot to bring the series in on the cusp of death, for the potential of a reverse sweep, of reminding the region how great they can be.
And watching this draft, I'm struck with a weird feeling, because I look at the G2 comp and I think to myself, oh, finally, this comp looks quite nice from G2. But then I remember the last 2 games, and their drafts were good. They were just getting outplayed.
And I think when MKOI are in that zone where they're just outplaying you, out-skirmishing you, you remember the team they were when they entered the league in 2024 winter. The last time they were in finals. And they were a step above in terms of coordination, in terms of skirmishing. And now it's a different situation, because it's not just that they started off with a buff to how well coordinated they could be. They might just be one step ahead of everybody, because they're just better.
The last time it was G2 who stopped them. This time G2 haven't found a way to control MKOI, and they were locked in coming onto this stage. There were no smiles. They were all business. And if they can try and hold on to that, slow G2 once more, control the pace of this game, that seems to be the way forward. Mirren puts a trap in that top side to make sure that he gets a little bit of a heads up if someone starts poking their head in from G2, but it seems a little bit once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah. Fool me once, shame on you, etc.
It's going to be the Ghost here for Hans Sama here, taking a note out of Supa's playbook from last game, as I would have maybe thought that Supa would go Ghost as well to try to match it, but it's going to be the barrier for him. So a little bit of early game lane power for Supa in the Summoner department.
Also, the phase rush for LeBron does mean that if he overcommits on a trade, he's that much squishier. Braum often so good at punishing those engaged supports. But again, maybe the game is more about getting LeBron out of lane, trying to get him more active on the map. With the Vi in the jungle, though, I imagine we may be in a situation where we don't see a lot of early action from G2.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of AD carries will be left to their own devices on the bottom side of the map, and it'll be on MKOI to see if they can get kind of vision down on that top path to just let Mirren play aggressive.
The level 3 cheese. Follow-up stun connects on a minion, Caps flashing out, but the early flash devastating for any potential repeat ganks.
And G2 are caught unaware as Jojo spamming once again. Nah, bro. That's crazy. I mean, Elyoya is just everywhere this game. G2 were not prepared for the Raptor late invade. And Caps already off to a shaky start.
And this is the advantage of being 2-0 up in a series, is you can bet a level 2, you can put yourself a little bit behind. When you're on match point, you can take risks like this, and if they pay off, you're that much closer to victory. But Supa and Alvaro losing out on the bottom side of the map. Unbreakable coming in a little bit late, and maybe this is the strong point that G2 can play around.
Yeah, I think they need to find somewhere, and I think this will also be a bit of a question mark for me onto Alvaro. When you think back to Alvaro over the last year, he's been in the LEC. Braum has not been the strongest of picks for him. He has been the one that has been that engage tool and kind of needed to step up to be that engage tool for MKOI, and they have struggled in the past when he's been on this Braum pick. It's not a diss at his ability to play the Braum, it's just his role in the team. We'll have to see if MKOI are able to play a different style of game now that Alvaro isn't that engaged tool.
Yeah. Of course, the win record, I think, impressive. But when you look at the team identity, something you always have to contrast is, can someone else on MKOI step up, as you mentioned? Maybe it's Elyoya, has had a series pretty excellent so far. Jojo Pune as well. We talked about it. So many great ultimates to steal away. Set up for success in the early laning phase, courtesy of the early gank. But of course, Annie's range advantage still makes this a pretty tough one to play out.
Yeah, still a tough matchup for this Silas early on. Gets easier once you get a few items and you can start to actually just clear waves. But Skewmont here, after a shaky start as he loses the Raptors, he's going to be able to pick up the bot crab though, and maybe look to pay a visit to mid.
Jojo, level 4. Early kill for the Annie could be big for G2 to start snowballing. For now it is just mid pressure. Skewmont there to cover. We'll move topside, try to get the double crab. Maybe go for a gank as well. Miron has one ward to cover, but he's pretty deep. You can see basically pushed up to tower, trying to hold that push as long as possible.
Yeah, I think at this stage it's going to be kind of peaceful on the rip for a little bit for MKOI. They just want to try and get that reset in for Jojo Pune. That's why you look at Elyoya popping into mid lane to make sure that he's able to pick up the CS. Then he can TP back in towards mid. And when you get to level 6 for G2, just throw that ultimate down on the Annie on top of Jojo Pune, burn through his health bar, and open that up for then dragons that are spawning in about 40 seconds.
And it's a good recovery from Skewmont here. He ends up being able to pick up both crabs and deny the Raptor re-invade from Elyoya. So when you do that late invade on Raptors, you really want to get the Raptor respawn as well, as that's the real jackpot. But Elyoya wasn't able to get it, so Skewmont now in a comfortable position, even though he's down a little bit of tempo and needs to reset to get back on the map.
See what he can do with the Vi, right? Game 2 was a little bit rough. Certainly outmatched by Elyoya in the series thus far, but we know him to be that incredibly consistent player, that consistency that we just really haven't seen today. In every other series, he's felt omnipresent, always where he needs to be, always a little bit ahead. Game 3 will have to be a different story. And when we look at the draft, I think so much pressure is on Hansama, right? Yeah. Broken Blade taking a losing matchup, caps on a utility champion once again. It's Hansama who needs to be the carry in this game.
And for me, the only person that's been even more consistent than Skewmont has been Hansama. And even in this series, when every other lane has faltered, he's still played very well. And he's off to a great start here, up around 15, 16 CS. Against the counter pick Braum, he's very happy.
So forward. Oh yeah, sprinting in with steadfast presence, but Cap's able to walk that one out. Now LeBron and Skewmont here as well. Q forward. Skewmont just threatening with the Q flash, just in case, maybe hoping that Jojo Pune in a moment of uncertainty would flash out, but Jojo, you mentioned it when we saw him coming on the stage, stone cold in this game 3.
But it's a good play towards mid because it lets Caps go for the reset. He didn't teleport back in. So now as he TPs back in, he's going to have the mana bar, he's going to have that item advantage. You can look for this early dragon. And so often when I see the Annie's mid, it is just I hit level 6, I ult the enemy laner, and that just gets us dragon. Because the enemy laner isn't able to succeed and has to concede so much space because the health bar goes so low. But we'll have to see if that's going to be the case, because at the moment, with the moving around on the map, with G2 having their bot lane on the top side, I don't think they'd be looking for it too early.
Alvaro ready to cover, but LeBron on the way in, so has to be careful here. You saw a little bit late from Mirwin on the reset. Going bot lane, but we're just going to ult right out to safety. Was able to get first push. Not confident enough to step up and try to end, but here we go. Potentially a Pokemon battle here in the mid lane. 2 bears.
Yeah, but this is the thing I was talking about, right? All you do is ult to burn the health bar, and then you guarantee yourself position on mid and the objective. It's still a minute and a half until those white grubs are up, so I imagine G2 are going to look to Dragon, but it's Elyoya who's already on it, but doesn't really have the support tools that he needs.
Yeah, with Jojo being forced to base, Elyoya has to get off this Drake. A nice play here by Caps, being able to pressure Jojo out and secure stop the Securo of this Drake.
But you've now burnt that ultimate kind of for nothing, right? JoJo's got the reset. He's going to be able to come in towards mid. I think you need to start this as Skumon if you want to try and hold on to it. And looks like he will do it. So they will still get the Dragon in the long play. But because it took long, well, now it's 40 seconds to avoid grubs, which means it should be a trade for MKOI on that top side of the map.
But potentially a false sense of security given to them by the trap in the pit. Currently not spotting anyone. Skumon grabbing this. MKOI, as expected, trying to set up some control on the top side of the map.
I do want to say, though, for G2, I think this early game, I mean, this is the best early game we've seen from them thus far, for sure. But also, if you look at the nature of the matchups, you have a Nidalee top, which is famous for bullying extremely hard. She's barely ahead. You have the Braum counterpick in bot lane, who's also actually down a little bit of gold. So everything across the board for G2 is going really well with the Drake secured as well.
Comfortable. And we saw what happened in a mid-game in Game 1 when they were at a gold deficit. They were still able to outmaneuver for the vast majority of the game. Coming into a mid-game in an even gold state is something we just haven't seen in this series. So LeBron finds a quick knock-up, but Unbreakable to deny any follow-up. Elyoyo will start the grubs. Skumon can show up, but got mid-push. Seems like they will be able to grab all three.
Yeah, and this is what I meant by not kind of immediately going towards that Dragon. You give the opportunity for MKOI to get the push that they needed with LEC support on the top half, so they're going to be pretty happy getting those void grubs for themselves, but it's still like, I think Dragon stacking has just become so much more crucial, so if I'm on the team that can stack the Dragons, I'm happy. It's only really Mirwin that I'm worried about using those void grubs successfully on these towers.
Pressure point. He's already grabbed a couple plates for himself. Rogueboy doing a good job of keeping the CS close, as Jack highlighted once before.
Oh, Skumon is here.
Punted back. Alvaro on trouble flash. Moves backward. Unbreakable tries to find the disengaged Super now, trying to get a bit more damage down, but they should just be able to finish the support now. Super might just need to back up. Continues to auto. Elyoyo on the way in. W to deny any further follow-up, but this area damage isn't quite there. Even with the ulti, flash away from LeBron as he tries to find a follow-up bit of CC, and G2 happy to just pick up one.
And finally, G2 strikes back in the series as they're able to pick up the first blood and get Hansama a crucial lead.
Mirwin, though, making the best that he can out of the situation, cross-mapping, at least grabbing a plate, trying to keep the gold slightly in their favor. Called it out. Hansama getting the gold is perfect for the side of G2.
And I do think as this game goes on, the fact that the G2 can try and keep this in good shape will bode well for them as their front to back fight. But this is just Alvaro stepping too far forward and good gank opportunity from Skumon playing through the fog of war to get that pick. And a little bit of an over-aggression from Elyoyo here to try and keep that play going. Super just doesn't have the damage in that sort of position to follow through, even with the BF sword picked up. So has to end up burning the flash to get away.
A unique situation, most certainly, that they have an AD carry who, you know, lacks a lot in the early game. Hansama will be going for the AD build on the Kai'Sa, it seems. Needs to be able to auto-attack in these fights, but might just have the space to do so.
I mean, it's not a terrible game to go AD Kai'Sa. I think he should still, I would like to see him go more on hit, but he does have great tools to go in, set him up for success, and he also has the Ghost as well to get more auto-attacks off. And being able to complete the Yuntal at 10 items, it feels very, very good for him.
Will. Might make it a bit harder to get the Zhonya's, my personal favorite Kai'Sa item. Why she's allowed to build it, I don't know, but
it's very nice. Every ADC should be able to buy Zhonya's.
No, that's not going to ahead of ourselves.
Mirwin continues to be a nuisance. Gold lead mostly from plates. Broken Blade has done an excellent job of keeping it close in terms of farm. Mirwin not quite able to sidestep there. Broken Blade, of course, on bits and pieces when it comes to items. That Triforce spike from Mirwin means he's going to be able to sustain that pressure quite well.
I do think, like, as this game goes on, I start to teeter more in favor of just G2's composition, right? It is very easy to execute. You have good follow-up for Skumon, and JoJo might actually end up giving kill across here.
JoJo's completely alone here. He has the All-Star ulti, but I'm surprised he's able to get this wave when Alvaro is showing on mid and Elyoyo's top side.
Might cost him his life. Abscond out.
JoJo's really playing on the limit here. I quite like it, the confidence he's displaying. As MKOI are doing what we praised G2 for. They're pressuring multiple lanes at the same time.
Trying to get himself somewhere to attack. Most of that coming from Mirwin. The confidence on the early Nidalee pick. Waiting to the last second possible to reveal its nature as a flag. Putting Broken Blade in this uncomfortable position where he's essentially blinding. Knowing that there's something getting cooked up here, or it's a Nidalee he's forced to go face-to-face with.
As this game goes on, though, I think it's going to be tough for Super to play out these fights. You get point and click from Skewmon, you get the ult from Caps to follow up, and you just don't get to play the game for about 4 seconds, which should be enough for follow-up, but Elyoya finding Skewmon.
Skewmon feeling pretty good. Locking down Elyoya. No gonna have a hard time. Perfect chain CC. He's ticking, he's burning. Skewmon grabs it. They wanted to donate it to Caps. Last auto will seal the deal, and Skewmon finally finding a game where he can build that lead.
G2 are making it look easy. They're just able to pick off individual kills here. Skewmon looking much more composed, much more like himself. As Lebrov here, oh, with the Kai'S ult.
Using a bit of the Hex Blast movement speed to get involved. Skewmon here now as well. Alvaro a bit too late, and G2 finding their footing in game 3.
The confidence is starting to come back. Skewmon and Lebrov working well together, finding picks as MKOI overextend. Now they get the bot side jungle, they get a bunch of those minions tossed into that bot side turret to no avail of MKOI. But MKOI looking to maybe collapse on the low health cow.
Lebrov caught out here.
Oh, flash here. I think.
Breakable.
Oh, he procs the face rush. Wait, Supa?
Cow. Keep going. Ulti there. Extra movement speed. Wants to keep chasing. Doesn't have the reset on the dash. Would love to parkour over the wall now, but can't quite get there.
But second Drake going over for the side of G2, and you have to feel that finally there's some life in this series as G2 getting a pretty decisive lead in game number 3.
Keeping it simple. Hansama in a comfortable position. Mirwin, the kind of single strong point on the map, but the difficulty of a champion like this Nidalee is it's often so hard to turn that Nidalee's lead into a lead for the entire team.
Alvaro interrupting the resets on that bottom side, though, will net the tower on the bottom half of the map for MKOI. So at least that is something coming back after that long chase for MKOI. And it's kind of adding to all that damage that Mirwin has done. Plus, getting gold into the hands of Supa going to be pretty crucial because he was already killing the assist down. But
for sure, but I do want to look at the jungle difference because Skewmon is nearly up 2 levels here on this Poppy. And this is a matchup that we thought he would lose the early game. He would get out impacted, but he's done the opposite. He's helped his laners more, and he's built an individual lead for himself.
And that is credit to Caps, right? Because he was the one who got that early attention from Elyoya. Did not give up a greater advantage. Did not give up his lane. Able to use the Annie to full effect. Of course, full effect does mean just dropping a bear on their head and walking away. But hey, that's what you want from this pick.
Keeping it simple.
Sometimes you just gotta drop a bear on. Nice, simple game plan. And again, this is the kind of composition where once you build a lead, you know the caliber of players present on G2. It's just a much more comfortable game state. They don't have to do anything tricky. They don't have to do anything crazy. And you can hear even this small lead, the even game state, get the G2 fan base going. Happy to have this. Finally seeing the team that they fell in love with perform on stage.
And this Sion, you have to feel it just gets tankier and tankier and harder to kill, as I feel like Nidalee has already kind of passed her expiration date.
And you know, we saw what happens when you have a 3K gold lead on Nidalee. It was Kana who played it. And AD Nidalee...
I mean, he was doing some work.
He was doing some work, most certainly. But it was still hard to get value in those fights. Sion, easy. Simple, straightforward. You go in, you push Q. If they burn spells on you, you're doing your job.
Riptide going to be taken. MKOI going to back away, but I was going to say, I think it's still this feels like a bit of a weird situation for MKOI, because traditionally when we look at the drafts and when they've been successful, it's, hey, we have ease of follow-up and ease of engage to set up for so many of our players. Like, even the jokes that have been had about they like to overextend, well, that comes from the fact that they have these good engage tools, but they don't really have one right now. Jojo being that sole engage tool realistically to try and set them up. And without the access to the vials, it makes it a bit tough.
It's a great overload by MKOI here. Being able to take down this mid tower this early on in the game is really crucial. Maybe it can set up for some potential picks the next time MKOI side laners have a move towards mid. Hansama could be forced to burn the flash, burn the ghost, or get chunked down.
Yeah, and credit to MKOI using the corrupts, using the one objective they've been able to secure thus far this game, other than the 2 towers, right? Knocking down mid, pressure in bottom lane, meaning that they get that one as well. But G2, Herald, double Drakes, sitting pretty comfortable in this game. Also, Mountain Soul near the team with the Sion. Feels pretty great.
Yeah, if you can get that Mountain Soul, definitely you're sitting pretty. It's G2.
Jojo Pune. Definitely hurting in the 1v1. Extended trades. Getting the healing coming from the W there as Broken Blade still has to be careful about going toe-to-toe with Mirwin, but just seems pretty unconcerned.
It feels like some parallels between top and mid here, as you know, it's Mirwin currently poking out Broken Blade, but neither really cares, and Cap's poking out JoJo, but neither really cares.
Yeah. But they're doing a lot of stuff. They're clicking a lot of buttons. Keeping it high, keeping it interesting. Is Skumon threatening, giving Hansama just a little bit of space to Q one-shot the wave, a Kathy and Rain upgrade.
Does force Alvaro and Super back, though, which gives Hansama and Skumon this access to the top side. It's JoJo waiting in the bush with Oyoya.
This is a level 10 Vi. I don't think they can even kill him.
Yep. Cap's going in. Hansama immediately flying in as well. Jojo Pugh might be able to steal an ulti, but for now he needs to get the hell out. Doesn't quite have the cooldown. Alvaro, double knockup, looks good. Cussive blows find their mark. Ultra Shock Laser not going to hit. G2 suddenly backing away.
The Brawl punted Super out of the engagement, so he couldn't actually be a part of it. So even though Alvaro gets a nice predict, the damage isn't there to come through.
I thought for sure with Alvaro getting that flash predict on his ultimate that they'd be able to follow it up. But it's nothing for MKOI, as it ends up being Alvaro's flash burned for Skumon's.
The redive. It's a half a wave. MKOI don't expect it. They assume, hey, hands off. Time for a bit of a parlay, but instead G2 full aggression on the top side of the map. They're hungry for blood. They want to find JoJo. Smite to slow him down. Flash, he tries to get himself out to safety. LeBron not quite in range. Q forward, ball breakers are going to back away. Crucial that he's able to survive, because in the meantime, mid lane already being pushed out by Supa.
Yeah, they just wanted to try and push out because they want to move over towards that dragon, deny that third dragon, but Rift Herald is there for G2 as MKOI overload the bottom side of the map.
It's going to be a cross map for tier 2 for Drake here. I'd say as MKOI, you're pretty happy about this. Fighting this Drake, when you press tab and you see the 2 items on this Vi.
Cap's caught out, deny the escape, but don't really have the follow-up. At least delaying the resets means they can get more prio in the mid lane on the side of MKOI.
G2 tempo here is really, really delayed. That Skumon is still trying to get these Raptors. He is so damn
that
strong.
Man is committed to getting his chicken.
Yeah. I was going to say, that was pretty brave as well. Super could have just dashed over the wall.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to bluff a little. Make them think you got 5 people behind you. Even if the enemy team just saw them recall. Yeah.
I don't know, I see a 2-item Vi and I'm not dashing over that wall as Sari, I think.
Nope. That's the position that they find themselves, right? Supa needs a bit more time to scale up. Hansama getting closer to second item here. Kaisa, the potential to just force these plays around any of those pieces of CC present across every other member of G2. Does again simplify the game plan, and now finally G2 able to get some structures of their own, actually take the lead in terms of towers. And remember, it was neck and neck in terms of gold. It was objectives where G2 were finding the edge, but now it's a very different story as they pull ahead.
I think it's just wherever Skumon goes, MKOI can't really match. He goes bot lane, it's a free tower for Broken Blade. He's gonna hover up towards the top side now, that means Caps can push out. And it's a tough situation to be when you're in MKOI, when you're playing this sort of disengage comp that's great at receiving engage, but then if you're not even stronger, you have no way of starting a fight yourself or getting picks, so you're just on that receiving end but losing.
And it's so crucial for the series and the confidence, especially of Skumon and LeBron, that they are able to impact this game for you. They're the ones that are able to bring it back. Decent Alistair so far, an excellent buy performance from Skumon. We're running out of priority picks in Fearless. When you get by in draft, you have to make it work, and Skumon, despite an 0-2 start, despite the odds feeling stacked against him, he has been making it work as G2 determined to start this Otacon. MKOI in the area, but I think both these teams have made enough mistakes around that objective. They're not too eager to throw anything away.
But G2 got what they wanted, the TP from Mirwin. That's all they were really looking for, because now they can back away. Broken Blade can continue to push in bot. They can restart it with that advantage with Supa.
Ulti from the Scion, flash from Supa. Again,
crucial summoner.
Yeah, we've seen in Game 1 and Game 2 how important AD carry flash can be. Both teams in Game 1 played so many fights, so many skirmishes, just for a little cooldown. And that's big for G2, as Supa really needs a lot of space and time at 2 items to be able to make it work.
Exactly, and now they can do just as Rob said. If Broken Blade pushes out bot, Mirwin matches, but instead they're actually going to put JoJo towards bot so that they can keep someone with that teleport. But I don't see a world where this Sylas can do anything against this Sylas. So that means full map control for G2.
And the thing about Broken Blade staying even is he's able to get MR items and armor items. So neither JoJo or Mirwin can fully just bully him out of lane. He doesn't really care about the lane assignments.
And you've got no control over mid-wave, so at this stage, LeBron gets to do what he wants. Caps has the range that can match Mirwin, so he gets the push because he just does it faster. And it feels like, again, G2 kind of just get to hold on to this map state until you end up in a position where, okay, Dragon is up and Otacon is up, and we have the teleport advantage.
The good news for MKOI is, despite the deficit, despite being a bit behind in terms of overall objectives, is they broke mid lane tier 1. Super crucial, super important objectives, something G2 have yet to do. So it does give them a bit more access to mid wave, a bit more control around that part of map, even now as Mirwin breaks another tower on the top side. For G2, committed to finding a fight here. LeBron, potentially a bit over-eager. Never hurts to chunk the Braum out early. Gets his flash as well. Caps trying to find a stun, trying to find the engage. LeBron's ulti going a little bit wide. Knockback is good onto the Alistar, but maybe not the ideal target. Mirwin trying to finish the kill. Down goes the bear. Jojo Pune on the chase, trying to get in this one. And then Italy running, sprinting. Mirwin wants to get the hell out. G2 happy to retreat. Happy to grab that kill. Good body block coming in from Elyoya. Jojo Pune trying to take down Caps. Nice footwork coming in from the Annie, but he's getting closer. It feels like an inevitability. Jojo Pune chasing. Caps taken down. Massive for the Silas. Skewmon now tries to taste. The empowered Timbers coming through. Jojo Pune with the Alistar ulti, but he can't push the button! G2! Beautiful layering of the CC!
And G2 strike back in this series as they're able to take down 2, they're able to get the Atakan, and some nice, fancy footwork from Caps. Alvaro tries to predict this flash, but Caps doesn't flash. He's got ice in his veins, and he plays it so nicely to set up this team fight.
G2 get the Atakan, and it's a quick reset away from a Dragon on the bottom side. But Alvaro and Elyoya trying to get any sort of control over River, and the punch doesn't go well. Alvaro ends up in a position where he doesn't want to be, but Mirwin here thinking, oh, we can catch Caps, but Caps doesn't go into Alvaro's ultimate. Then even here, waits for the pounce to flash away, keeps himself safe, and Jojo spent so much time chasing onto him. The Supa at this stage, ult, has no one to try and connect with as Hansam has flashed away. But G2 then access up River as they pushed MKOI back into their own jungle. They're quicker to connect to Jojo to finish off the rest of them.
It's a wonderful play from G2 here, but Caps, no flash on it.
Marked crucially, concussive blows there. Flash forward from Alvaro, they want to find that kill. The rest of G2 descending on the side. Supa is already ulted. He's in excellent position to fight, but he needs to get the hell away from the bear. Mirwin, attack speed steroid coming in. Hansama taking down Alvaro as the fight now continues. Jojo Pune off the side still has the power of the Alistar ulti, but MKOI don't want to get overeager. It's a support for mid lane trade. They're happy with what they got.
No one can kill Broken Blade. Look at this health bar. He just keeps going.
Jojo Pune ulted. That's the Alistar all gone, but G2 instantly back away. They're waiting it out. They know they don't want to throw any more skills in, and they're taking their sweet time.
You have to feel that MKOI cannot contest this Drake. When I'm looking at this Sion, just frontlining, not taking any sort of damage. You desperately need more items on this Seri because this Silas will never be able to deal with this Sion. But maybe if the Seri is able to get that Infinity Edge, be able to get that LDR, they can finally start to win some of these fights.
There's a lot of maybes for the side of MKOI. They're at least keeping their waves pushed. They lose another objective soul point for G2 on a Sion that's already pretty damn unkillable. Almost 1,200 bonus health. Credit to Broken Blade. Ahead in CS. And you can see how hard it was in that previous fight in the river for Mirwin to get anything done. Even when a target is stunned, if you miss a single cooldown, you're so damn squishy. Sundered Sky, not enough to keep this Nidalee alive in the fights.
But you can also see how much MKOI have to invest to try and find these picks. Elyoya flashing onto Caps after Alvaro had landed the Winter's Bite. Then Alvaro had to flash just to keep the bloody stacks going. MKOI have to invest so much to keep these fights happening for them. And G2 now just get to walk forward and press or if it works for them.
And that's the problem when you play this sort of disengaged comp. Yeah, you're great at disengaging, but enemy team has all the agency of when the fight actually begins. They have the decision-making power that you lack.
Certainly do. And it's a different case if you're the one ahead in gold. If you're the one who's first on the objective, it makes it so easy because they have to come to you. But you're down in Drakes. You're behind in the game, and Elyoya is going to be in trouble now. Punted back into the team. G2 happy to have an easy kill. Elyoya down, jungler gone, Broken Blade on the way in. This might just be the Baron for G2.
And so beautifully played by LeBron, so patient, waiting out the Poppy W. But they're on to the Nasher, and LeBron has a crazy flank here.
This is the confidence G2 fans were waiting to see. MKOI, they've outplayed at a man disadvantage before. We've seen it in the series.
LeBron is hiding.
Can they make it happen again? LeBron behind. Supa looking for the angle. Punts Mirwin back. There's no immediate follow-up. Now Broken Blade going in. Alvaro knocked to the side, but it's Hansam in the backline. Look at an eye. Supa now flashing out. Supa for a brief moment uncontested. They're trying to follow him. It's Skewmon. He's just too far ahead. He finds the kill. Caps taking down another. Mirwin and Jojo Pune want to make the difference, but it's a 2v4, and they've got nowhere left to run. G2 chasing them out. The headbutt pole, the follow-up, the CC. Oh, damn. G2 finding the kills.
And it was such a beautiful Silas Vi ult from Jojo Pune to take down Hansama, but it's too little, too late. as Mirwin looks like he will fall as well. Or maybe not.
How much time can he buy, though?
I mean,
Getting good damage.
The thing is, in the extended fight, he's still scary.
Oh.
Managing to find one. They want to go in again. The CCC's here. He's done. But G2, maybe not giving him enough respect. Might have wanted to throw a few more members forward.
Mirwin able to get one back, but it's a little messy. Like, I don't really know why Elyoya went in here. Supa's not in position, Mirwin's not in position, Jojo can't really contest. So Elyoya ends up giving his life as Labrov is able to get him back into the enemy team.
And perhaps a false sense of security. I'm not sure what he saw leading up to that play, but there have been moments where Labrov has walked up too far by himself. Elyoya betting on the coin flip, coming up tails.
And then here you see Supa getting ulted by Skewmont, and Hansama tries to follow up, but Jojo, holding onto that vial, is able to take down Hansama instantly. And normally, this would be a great fight for MKOI. They took down enemy ADC, but Skewmont is too damn strong, able to take down Supa as well, and it's G2 with the advantage.
Elyoya going in, whip it completely!
Elyoya, no!
Look at his team! Mirwin's in base! Elyoya is trying to force these engages, and I really don't understand why.
It looks like he's crumbling under the pressure. In a tough game, you feel desperation.
Yeah, and game 1, game 2, he was stone cold, right? This is the captain of the team. This is the man this team was built around, but here, not able to find the angles. The first play of the game was solid, but now just so woefully far behind Skewmont for G2. Going to grab this Baron, uncontested. Starting to feel like the first victory lap for this team in the series as Mirwin now caught out as well. Pulverize, one auto, taking their time. Mirwin, powerful in lane, but has not been able to transition that lead. But with Alvaro on the way, maybe they can get it done. Doesn't have quite enough time for the heal. Flash out from Caps at the very least. TP is there. The Baron's already down. G2 happy to just grab that kill and grab the TP.
And the TP is the big one for me. They thought maybe they could turn it around, that potentially Alvaro could hold on to his top laner, but no heal available for him. The shield wasn't there in time. And now G2 just get another summoner spell on top of that Baron with 35 seconds until a Mountain Soul for this G2 squad. This game feels over for MKOI.
Certainly does. Caps flashless on a different champion. That might feel incredibly important. Maybe if they can find a pick, but for Annie, one round of cooldowns, even if you die, it's Hansama who's still alive. Skewmont who's so far ahead, who could do so much work. It's fine. They over-focus on Caps or Broken Blade. You can see they just do not do damage to this Scion.
Oh my god, this Scion can do no wrong right now, as he can just frontline with the Annie shields, with the unending despair. And I don't think MKOI has any chance of entering this Drake. They might try, however.
At least tanky enough that he can face check, but it's just because Hansama and Skewmont are otherwise occupied. Soul for the side of G2 on top of the 5K gold lead.
It's item leads, it's gold leads, it's experience leads, it's everything going in favor of G2 right now, and there's just nothing MKOI can do. G2 have scaled into such a good position that their team fight is just incomparable to MKOI's.
For G2, starting to feel that momentum, starting to feel that fire. We ran the graphic earlier, ran it for too long, couldn't take it down. But it's good to bring it up now. If Caps wins a game in finals, he wins the series. There's a reason this guy is the boogeyman of our region. G2 moving forward with confidence. MKOI still on match point, still find a good engage. The chain CC is solid. Skewmont locked up with the immediate damage doesn't quite come through, but Skewmont might just get taken down. Queuing out to safety. Mirwin off to the side. They want to chase, but Broken Blade is there. Stands in front of them, stops the follow-up.
It's a valiant effort by Elyoya, but they just don't have the damage to take G2 down. It feels like too little, too late. And G2 really need to mess up to throw this one.
Yeah, and we said it at the start, that just the lack of engage for MKOI makes it so difficult to start these fights. 2 ultimates used, and there's just no way to get the damage dealers in there, even in a 4 versus 5, and now G2 get to reset, continue to keep the pressure up. The Baron will fade, but that Mountain Soul is here to stay, and the pressure is going to continue to mount on MKOI.
I think the Scion is here to stay as well, as I just don't see them having the tools to actually take him down. Maybe if Supa can get that LDR.
It's just so tough, right? In the games past, when Mirwin was playing the Gwen, there was the potential, the damage that he could put out in a fight with the Nidalee. It's just so hard to get anything done. Flashing in, trying to find the lockup. Hansama at least briefly interrupted as MKOI tried to retreat. BB off to the side. We'll find one with the knockup. No, he won't. Alvaro flashing out. G2 retreating back into the mid lane. Happy to again try and force a couple of summoners. They do give up Hansama's Ghost, but Alvaro gives up his flash.
And I mean, it's a bit of an overforce by Labrov there as he flashes in, tries to go on the Pumpy, but you just don't feel like there's any punishing factor from MKOI. They can't chase them down. They can't really do anything.
You need a miracle if you're MKOI. You need to hope that you can catch someone out and just run that down that mid lane, try and end the game. But that feels like such a far away dream. And for MKOI, G2 has been the big bad for so long.
Yeah.
They are so close to taking them down, but if G2 can take this, it's one step towards that reverse sweep that they so desperately need to keep that ball rolling. And for guys like LeBron, it's kind of funny to see that, hey, he's in another finals and he's hoping to be on the reverse sweep rather than the other way around.
Yeah, it's true. Call back to history, the BDS times, long ago, feels like at this point.
That was a crazy reverse sweep.
That was a crazy reverse sweep. I mean,
but Hansa is fine.
And
they have no engage.
And the thing is even if the Nidalee jumps in on that spear, I'm a little bit nervous as to what happens.
Yeah, I don't think the Nidalee is too useful anymore. I'm afraid.
Well, good news, I think, for G2 fans. Step ahead of the series. As we get deeper in Fearless, Mirwan's a creative guy, but G2 also known for that creativity.
But you have to feel that for game number 4, that the learnings from MKOI would be clear. You need more fighting power, more engage on your own side, because you're a team that, if you don't have that, you look lost.
Yeah, and I think they will be looking at picks like the Leona for Alvaro that's still up and available, unless it does get banned away. But then it starts to teeter into things like the Ornn to go in towards that top side, which Mirwan didn't look the best on some of these tanks in the past. Broken Blade has looked exceptional on them. So I think there's definitely windows where G2 have a bit more in that engage side of things. And it's funny to see it's game 3 again, where MKOI draft this lack of engage comp, but it doesn't work out for them like the last time.
No, and I think it's big when Broken Blade can take a losing matchup like the Sion, outscale, come further into the game. You've taken another engaged champion out of the pool. You survived a difficult matchup to keep the hopes alive. Stopwatch also there now for Caps. Guaranteed to get that combo down. Short of a perfect engage from MKOI, which again, they really just don't have great options for. G2 TPing mid lane, ready to just force a fight, ready to brute force here.
They get full control of this Nash here.
Damage. Look at Broken Blade. The shield isn't even broken.
I mean, Supa does have the LDR, but...
In defense of his, their damage, he did have the Boots shield come on first, so.
Yes, like the Boots shield, the Mountain Soul, the W, the Annie shield.
Yep. Engage going in from LeBron. Alvaro in the midst of the team manages to find a 2-man knockup. Jojo Pien on the flank, waiting, trying to find a perfect ult. Not sure if he needs to take the Alistair. Good knockback coming from Velia. Supa uncontested for a moment, but only able to connect onto Alvaro. Supa still free firing. Good damage. Mirwan forced to flash out. G2 retreating a bit, knowing they got so many cooldowns, knowing there's no follow-up from MKOI as soon as that initial engage doesn't seal the deal.
Keep your eyes on Caps, though. The Flash Tibber is still an opportunity here if they want to try and go for it.
Backstep, good steadfast presence from Elioyo. G2 threatening, pushing them down. MKOI forced into the bottom side river, giving up control over mid lane.
There's just no damage from the side of MKOI, and now with the Seri ult on cooldown, she loses all her value, and G2 can just start off the Baron Nashor.
Broken Blade fearless. Walking up, concussive blows can stack. Baron started, but it only takes 2 members from the side of G2 to secure it. MKOI desperately trying to push mid lane, but the Baron's falling.
But MKOI can drop it and try to hold control of the Elder here, but I think Broken Blade can just walk at them.
Seems like he can. Jojo Pien forced to flash. Mirwan waiting over the wall. Spear not hitting a priority target. Alvaro continuing to back up. Unbreakable used a bit early, but G2 again, so patient. The lack of engagement from MKOI means they get to play this so slow. Decent poke from the Broken Blade. I take it back. He took no damage. Spear, no damage. He cannot be hurt. Jojo Pien holding onto the Vi ultimate. MKOI slowly being pushed back. Eyes on LeBron. The potential for a big engage here. Has the flash available. If he catches Supa, it's going to be big. Can't quite find the angle. Supa untouched for now. Caps can't find him either, but Supa's forced to retreat. It's a bloodbath in the midst of everything. Mirwan's still getting decent damage down. Caps going golden. Elioyo forced back. G2 finding the double for Hans. A nearly effortless fight.
It was a long, hard-fought game for MKOI, but there's just nothing they can do. G2 are too strong, and they will start that march to try and get to that game 5.
And Broken Blade was just too damn tanky. They did not have anywhere near the damage they needed, as G2 will barrel down the ball lane and finally breathe some life back into this series.
G2 will not go quietly in this series. It will not be a repeat of winter. G2 striking back against MKOI. Broken Blade unconcerned, undamaged, unfaltered, feeling confident as G2 find the first win
work to do, but at least it is a start for G2. Good engage, good team fighting, agency for Hans Sama. Have G2 found the recipe?
It's a hard recipe to replicate, though. You get Vi, Kaisa, Annie. You had so many tools, such an easy to execute composition. And with Fearless especially, it's hard to try to replicate